All right, what's up, everyone? Alex Boylan here, co-founder of Dream Jobbing. Super excited to be here with Marissa Finn. She has spent her career working in ad agencies and working for amazing companies and helping tell the story of people like, companies like the NFL to GE, and now she's the senior marketing and PR manager at Samba Brand. So, Marissa, thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, so this is really cool. I think the way I want to start this off, especially in the ad agency world, can you start and just talk about, being a senior marketing manager in PR? Like, what does that job entail? And talk a little bit about this space and the career that you've been so fortunate to have.
Sure. So, really, at its heart, marketing is about telling the brand's story and creating a connection between a business and the person that's consuming that business. Whether that's for a company like Pringles, and what does it mean to be eating Pringles, and what is the role that eating chips and snacking has in that person's life, to a big company like GE, where they may not be necessarily buying MRIs, but there are certainly MRIs and the technology that GE has. How does that play a part in their lives? And then all the way into hospitality, which is the role that I currently have. It's really about telling the story of what does dining out mean? What does it mean to come together at a table and have this shared experience that brings everyone together, family, friends, whether it's a typical Tuesday night or your New Year's Eve party.
It's so fascinating, and what a fun dream job to have, to be able to, especially right now in the hospitality business, to tell the story of different hotels and restaurants and bringing the consumer into their world. So very cool. Let me ask you this. What's the best part about working in that career?
Really the best part, and why I wanted to work in marketing in the first place, is it allows you to be creative, but within certain constraints, right? So an artist is someone who's able to be creative with absolutely no rules, no guidelines. There's no box to even be out of. And marketing is really art that is inside a box, that needs to solve a problem. So it really, I love it because it enables me to use both sides of my brain, the left side and the right side. I need to be able to look at a set of numbers and crunch that data and understand what that means, but it also allows me to write on a daily basis and to be visual and to look at the world through a visual and storytelling lens.
That's so cool. That's so cool. Are there any bad parts of working, in this? Is
There
there?
are always bad parts, Alex. There are always bad parts.
Talk a little bit about those.
I think that just like anything that has a creative lean to it, there's always going to be an element of subjectivity. There's always going to be a little bit of, well, I wouldn't have done it this way, because there is no right or wrong way to market. There's no right or wrong way to necessarily tell a story. I think, it's also one of those things that a lot of people think that they know how to do. And frankly, it's been around since business has been around, but right with the, where we are right now, marketing is changing every single day. The tools that are available for us are changing every single day. So it's a constant challenge to try to figure out how can we use all of those tools in the best way possible.
And I'm sure with the market changing so much, right?
Yeah, completely.
To the audience.
Completely. And, I'm a proud millennial. I will always defend my generation, but that is really like a hot button topic in marketing right now, especially is, this whole question of how do we market to millennials? They're this crazy generation that has all of these different, habits that we've never seen before. And the truth is that's absolutely not the case. I really think that it's just a matter of how do we adapt things to these new technologies. But it's definitely a hot button issue of how do we keep up with everything that's going on in the world.
Yeah. So where did you know this was the space that you wanted to get into? Was there something that happened when you were younger? Was it high school? Was it college? When were you saying, you know what? Yeah, I loved this. I saw a commercial. When was it was like, I wanna get into marketing and specifically work in like ad agencies and work for different, whether it's hospitalities or bigger companies?
I couldn't say that there was, it was something that I had wanted, that I had grown up wanting to do. I was always a writer. I always gravitated towards writing and to storytelling. And I majored in English in college, and I sort of took it one step at a time. I was very involved in the newspaper at school, and it was really more just because I wanted to be the arts editor of the newspaper. That was as far as I wanted to go. I wanted to be able to go see the plays at the Kennedy Center and be able to write a review. I actually accomplished that goal nice and early and was able actually to become editor of the paper. And but that was in the mid 2000s when journalism was, as they said, it was dying, right? So it wasn't necessarily a field that there were a ton of jobs for a recent grad to go into. So I sort of just started exploring, and I started shaking down my networks and asking questions and talking to as many people as possible. I was very fortunate to be accepted to an externship program that my school offered that enabled me to just, instead of spending my senior year spring break doing what seniors should do on their spring break, I went around New York and had informational interviews at PR agencies, at media companies, at branding agencies, and then eventually at creative agencies, which is really the first time I even learned what a creative agency was. And it was really that experience and just learning what was out there that made it clear that this is the thing that I should be doing and that I wanted to do. And I don't even know if I knew what to expect going into it, especially as, for an entry-level role. But I think I really quickly realized that it was exactly what I should have been doing the entire time. And probably had I even known that it was out there before, March of my senior year, before I graduated, I probably would have pursued it from even earlier. But it was just one of those right place at the right time things.
It's so cool. I mean, you touched on so many things that we talk about a lot, especially with our students at Dream Jobbing, where it's like, learn about a career by asking questions, right? By doing exactly what we're doing right now. And so to find out that you were doing that your senior year, which leads into my next final question would be, if you were giving advice to yourself, along with, or to any younger person out there who maybe is interested in working in marketing at ad agencies, loves the storytelling aspect, what advice would you give them and the steps to take to explore business, to figure out, yes, this is what I need to go down, or this is for me, I want to go down?
I definitely think talking to as many people as possible is so critical. I think that marketing is a humongous industry. There's so many different areas of marketing that you could go into. And even just, say ad agencies, if that's something that you wanted to do, there's so many different kinds of ad agencies, so many different personalities. You can go into the production side, the strategy side. You could be a generalist in account management, which is what I did. So really just talking to as many people as possible and learning as much as possible is the best preparation that you'll have. And that also will, if you do end up doing that, it'll also just give you a good, you'll have the 101 down already. It'll be that much shorter of a learning curve if you already understand how creative works with production, works with an outside production agency, et cetera. And then the other thing I would say is read the trades. Being able to speak the language is probably one of the hardest things that you'll encounter when you first start in the industry, and just knowing what the landscape looks like, knowing what people are interested, what are the trends, what are the different tones that brands are trying to take. So, for example, if it is marketing that you're interested, read Adweek, read Ad Age. It's, they're all online, they're all free. Just being able to see what kind of ads do you like? What kind of technologies do you like? Where do you think that you could potentially add something? I think that's the great thing about marketing is it's, like we said earlier, it's always changing. So there's always more room to grow and to sort of find a niche for yourself to be able to really make an impact really early on in your career.
That's such great advice. I just want to reiterate, for especially our younger students, Ad Age, right? It's like, go read the trades. Probably the first time I ever heard that, said. It's so true, to learn the terminology. And probably along with that research, they'll be able to find companies, right? That might be
completely.
Did you just cold email them or cold call them and say, I'm looking for a 15-minute informational meeting? Is that what you did?
So it was set up for me by my college, which was fantastic. The other thing about reading the trades too, though, is it's a very practical thing. You can see who's winning business. So whoever's winning business is who's going to be hiring. So they're the ones who are going to have those entry-level jobs. It's just good to know, who's hiring and who might not be hiring.
Yeah, that's great. Oh man. Well, listen, Marissa, thank you so much. 5 questions with Marissa Finn, an expert senior marketing and PR agent manager at Samba, which is an amazing organization and company doing all these. I was looking online the other day. It's like I want to go eat at every one of those restaurants.
Yeah, me too. It's hard to work in hospitality and love food as much as I do. It's I more or less think about and look at food all day. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you very much, and we really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Alex.
Cheers, everyone.